Welcome everybody back to another one of our podcasts from MMA NEWS UK, and today we are with Louise Bennett. Louise is...
Right.
Hey, how you doing, Louise? Thanks for coming on.
No worries, thank you.
She's an up-and-coming fighter, and so we thought we'd give her a bit of exposure, talk to her about her career and stuff. So, start off, Louise. Do you want to tell us how you got into martial arts and your journey through the sport?
I found it through a charity event with Ultra MMA. So that's how I started. The second I got out the cage from my first one, I just wanted to jump straight back in. It was just ridiculous. You know, you get a tattoo and then you want your whole arm done. It's one of those.
Yeah, I know what that's like. Yeah, got my arms, my back, everything. What disciplines did you start with first? Did you start with boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu? How did you start?
I started more with jiu-jitsu. So I went to a jiu-jitsu school, Gracie Baja, up in Newmarket. So sort of went through it like that. Wasn't really interested in the whole striking thing. I just wanted to get people down and beat them up. That's kind of how I want to fight. So I'm only really picking up boxing and kickboxing now as I'm getting through MMA. So in the last 6 months.
Yeah. How are you finding it?
It's all right. There's a lot to it. I mean, because it's mixed martial arts, you learn one discipline, say boxing, but it might not transfer into how I want to fight in MMA. So it's been difficult trying to get it all transitioning into one, but that's what fights are for, aren't they? So
exactly. Well, this is the thing a lot of people don't realise. With kickboxing and boxing, on their own, they're one thing. But actually, like I said, transitioning that into MMA, transitioning into your grappling, defending different, attacking different. There's so much more into it. People don't realise until you actually go into it that how there is into it. So grappling is definitely your strongest point.
It's definitely where I like to be. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Obviously, you recently changed teams, didn't you? And you've gone over to Steve at Rough Diamonds.
So I am with BST at the moment, and I'm currently just in the mix of sorting out if I'm going to split my time with Rough Diamonds and BST, or if I'm going to solely go back to Rough Diamonds. But it's being spoken about, definitely.
Yeah, so what was the reason for you changing teams in the first place? There's a bit of a story there between you changing teams.
There is, and it gets a bit confusing as you go through it all, but the main reason really was money and lies and, just general BS that is coming out of my old gym. So I was like, I've had enough, and I just left.
Yeah. No, fair enough. So that was your decision to move over from your week before.
There's just one thing that a lot of people in MMA or mixed martial arts can't stand, and that is people lying. So when you're caught out on lies, people either just wash their hands with you and they're done, or they're going to call you out, because that's the aim of the game, isn't it? You call them out, you fight them, and it's done. It's squish business. So
exactly, completely. The whole reason we set up this podcast and this whole company, to be honest, was regional level fighters. To get them exposure, to get more people interested in the grassroots of the sport. So one thing we do want to try and do is find the right teams, the right shows, people that do it the right way, but expose the people that don't.
Yeah,
as well.
Exactly.
So that's obviously another reason why we wanted you to come on, because obviously it's a bit of a story of what happened. But moving over, because obviously Steve, I'm not too up on BST, like what coaching stuff he got there, but obviously I know Steve pretty well. Obviously he's more of a striking coach, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so how have you found it training with Steve?
I've known Steve for I think over a year, maybe 2 years now. When I first moved up to this area, I started training at Rough Diamonds, so I was there first. And then there was a mix-up with some contracts with old management that just I threw away. Ended up leaving there because of that. But yeah, I've done full circle really. Get back into the hands of Steve. So.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So, it's a bit of a silly question. I don't know where I wrote this one down. I was going to say, what discipline do you feel you've improved most on since you've been working with Steve? But pretty obvious answer, really, isn't it?
Yeah, like my K1 a lot,
Yeah.
which is why I kind of did. I was thinking, BST are great on their grappling and their wrestling and getting in on that side of things. So why not have a different gym as well, working alongside it that I can, work on with my stand up. And Steve's also fought in MMA as well, so that helps me a lot.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely good, especially if you've got two, like you said, two different teams. One is strong in one area, one is strong in the other. It
Yeah,
really
and
does
just see
help.
how we can combine it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. What stood out most to you at like BST and Rough Diamonds and made you go back to them? Like, what is it about made you go back to them?
So the thing,
Like another gym or?
I think the relationship that I've got with Steve at the moment has also driven me to want to go back to that gym. And Leanne, she's hardcore, so I wouldn't mind her whipping my ass in fight camps. He's got some absolute animals down there, and that's who you want to really be surrounded by. You don't want to be surrounded by people who can't throw a punch. So
Exactly, it's better to be the little fish in the big pond than the big fish in the little pond.
exactly.
Definitely, you want people that are going to.
Yeah, that's why I went to BST as well, because they've got the likes of like Jordan Vucenic, Hayley Valentine, Molly Lindsay. They've got them all down there. So to be surrounded by those types of high level elite athletes, it's only going to make me stronger.
Yeah, you're going to learn so much as well getting pushed.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to learn what your mistakes are, how to deal with them. Especially if it's a good team as well, like you say, it's like a family. People are going to help you. They're not going to just try and let you come in and kick your ass just for the fun of it. They're going to push you,
exactly.
do the improvement on, and that's brilliant. Have you competed in just K1, or have you literally just done MMA?
I've literally just done MMA from that first ultra. Then I haven't really. I've sparred in boxing and things like that, like inter clubs, but I've never competed. It's just mainly jiu-jitsu and MMA.
K1 fights yet then?
Say that again, sorry.
I said Steve hasn't got you doing any K1 fights yet then?
Not yet, no, not yet. Bless him. I'm sure it'll be the beginning of next year. Yeah, exactly.
What's your record in MMA in a minute?
4-0, and I am currently the British flyweight champion.
Oh, really? What show's that on?
Battle Arena.
Oh, nice. That's a good show, that is. And where would you like to see your MMA career go in the next 5 years? Do you want to carry on the journey at amateur? Or do you want to go pro soon? Or
I think whilst I'm still fresh in the sport and I have a lot to give to the sport and a lot to learn, I think staying amateur for the time that I have, because I've got quite a good period of time here to actually stay amateur for another year or so. So I'm not rushing to go to the pro ranks, not just yet.
Yeah, no, good answer. I like that answer. Have you thought about doing one of the IMAC tournaments or?
It's something I've have previously spoken about with a ex-coach of mine, but was always told like it's a load of rubbish. But I know a lot of people at BST who have done it as well, and it's one of the most amazing experiences they've ever had. So it's something that I would look into if I got the opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I've never fought in it, but I've been around it and stuff like that. It's amazing, and it would help your career so much. Especially now, like every year, the talent level's going up and up and up. So if you really want to push yourself and get yourself in and get as much out of your amateur career as you can, the IMAC tournament is definitely the way to go.
Yeah.
Have you got your next fight booked or?
I was meant to be fighting the middle of December, but I'm not quite sure what's happening with that. So I might just write off this year and start again fresh next year. It's not ended on such a bad note. I got the belt, so.
Yeah. Have you got anyone you're hoping to fight next year or?
I haven't really got my eyes set on just one person within the sport, but there's a few girls up there that I would like to get the chance to at least experience that environment with them. Like I know Chanel Dyer's going pro with Cage Warriors on the 10th, which I'm pretty sure me and her will probably meet in the pro ranks once I get up there.
Yeah,
but she's one of those fighters. Yeah, she's one of those fighters that I've always had my eye on, even before I started MMA. So for me to be able to even get the chance to would be crazy. But it's what we do, isn't it? You train and then you have to fight the best. So
yeah, be an amazing experience. So she definitely is very good. Fighting people like that. Definitely. Especially amateur, win, lose or draw with someone like that. You're going to learn so much from competing.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. When you have your fights, how do you like to do it? I always like to ask people this. Do you leave your camp to your coach and let them do all the research and let them plan what you're going to work on for the fight? Or are you someone that has to watch all your opponents at fights and know everything about them and get really involved with your game plan?
So I did a lot of for the 4 fights that I have had, I was in one gym. But for those fights, it was mainly me continuously watching back and forth, being on the air bike, sweating it out, still watching what they're doing. And I think one of the most watched videos I ever watched was Molly Lindsay Camilla, because I was meant to fight Camilla. So, it's one of those, it depends how much support you have with your coach, or that relationship you have with your coach, to sit down and discuss those things in great detail. But it's something that I do myself, really, through my recovery stages and things.
The coach as well, the coaching style they have, because everyone is different. Like myself, I'm the same as you. I've sat there before and watched clip by clip, second by second, every single move they make. And I made notes, pages and pages long, on people. Absolutely get obsessed with them. I end up knowing them better than I know themselves.
Yeah,
and I just can't. It's no right or wrong answer with it. Everyone is just personal choice. But for me, I don't think I could do that. Just sit back and go, yeah, go on, coach, you get on with that. Just let me know what we're gonna do.
Yeah, no, I'd like to see it myself, because there might be something that I've seen that my coach hasn't seen, that, or vice versa. But yeah, it is down to preference how you like to do it. But I do like to analyse things. I'm female, so we kind of have that in abundance.
Yeah, you had to know every little detail.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, apart from Miss Dye we just spoke about, is anyone else in the UK scene you'd like to fight next year?
If I could get to a good 135, maybe 145, probably Summer only. But I don't think I could ever get up to that weight class. She's a big girl in she's, the muscle mass she has on her is crazy. But it's not, I've been at 135, 145, so it just depends if I could do it in a space of time, but she's definitely one that I would like to at least spar with at minimum.
One thing that I think people shouldn't worry about too much as amateur is their weight. Do a slight weight cut to get used to the process. But I think it's crazy when you see amateurs pushing themselves so much to get down to as minimum as they can. Absolutely crazy. The amateurs, more for me, is learning your craft, not learning how to cut every single gram of fat you have in you, every little bit of water you got in you, get it out. You should just more focus on the fights and worry about that when you go pro. But again, that's obviously everyone's own preference, isn't it?
Yeah, I know people who have fought at their body weight, and then people who have cut weight just for amateurs. Some people don't mind doing it; it gets them in the habit of it. But I've done a few weight cuts for the fights that I've had, but then I've done a few where I was clearing the weight easy because it was above my weight class. So it just depends where you are in your path.
To be honest, I like the way they do it on one championship. They do the hydration test. That's definitely the best way, the safest way of doing it anyway.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it is down to the way that the water is cut from the body. That is brutal, and that is what kills the body.
What they've done is, so say you fought at middleweight, you instantly go up one weight class. You go from weight to like heavyweight or whatever, flyweight to featherweight, bantamweight, sorry. And then what they've done is I believe you can only be a certain percentage away from the weight a week before the fight, a certain percentage away 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and you have to be. It's like you can only be a certain weight away from it. So it's basically they do it that way, and it's a lot safer. But I don't know why they don't do it. But I suppose it's a big change, isn't it? You know, especially in the UFC, they've got 400 or 500 fighters on the books. That's
well, they could just call someone and say, "Listen, we need a fighter tomorrow. We'll pay for everything," and they just go, "Oh yeah, you know, I can drop them £10." It depends, doesn't it?
Yeah, I remember. Do you remember? You might remember. Do you remember Luke Barnett? I'm sure it was in Tough when he done like 15 kilos overnight, didn't he? Just to prove a point.
Yeah, crazy.
Have you ever met Luke Barnett? He's huge for a middle. I don't know how he makes middleweight. He's absolutely enormous.
Massive.
Absolutely crazy. But yeah. Okay, what next we got? Which female fighter in the UK do you admire the most, and why? Like pro, amateur, whatever.
I have an amateur female that I admire quite a lot. She actually trains at BST. Her name's Molly Lindsay. She took some time out, had a child, and then has come back to MMA. And being around her and training and seeing her having to go through camp, cutting weight, and having to deal with her son, you know, it's inspiring. I mean, I used to say to her, if you're here, then I don't really have an excuse not to be here.
Yeah.
So it definitely motivates you having them type of people around you.
Yeah. Do you know
Holly Holm is definitely my favourite.
Cool. Do you know Dylan Evans?
Was that me or was that you?
Sorry, that was me. Do you know Dylan Evans?
Off the top of my head.
He trains with Daz. You know Daz Jones?
Yeah.
A few years ago, he had cancer. And he was only 21 when he had cancer, really young. He got through it, he's fine now. But he used to go training after chemotherapy. So he used to say to people, if I can come after chemo, there's no excuse for anyone not to be here. Yeah, and he would. He'd go and have chemotherapy.
Yeah, exactly. People sacrifice a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He actually ended up going out training at the Apex with Darren Till.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, Darren Till saw his story and invited him out. And he actually ended up going out there and training.
Oh, that was nice of him. That's it. Darren Till's that Liverpudlian, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. He actually ended up moving to Liverpool and training with them, his team. I think he's still up there now. He's done really well. He's
he'll be a good fighter. Yeah. And his team, if he's with Next Gen, he'll do really well in MMA.
Yeah, no, he's not at Next Gen. He's with Team Carbon.
Is he?
Yeah. Next Gen's a good team.
Research.
Next Gen's a very good team, but there's another team in Liverpool called Team Carbon as well. Obviously, you said Holly Holmes. What fighter in the UFC do you compare your style to the most?
Oh, goodness. It's hard. That's a hard question.
Do you want to know who I think?
Go on, yeah, you tell me.
I reckon Mackenzie Dern.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
She's a very, very good grappler, you know. And I've watched all the fights in the UFC and stuff, and yeah, I can see similarities between you and her.
I'm gonna have to go and analyse all her fights now. You know this.
Yeah, she's very good. I believe her father is the one who trained her, BJJ. She's a world champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and obviously she's in the UFC now, and she's been doing really well. She's lost a couple of fights, but again, she's another one. You know, she had a baby. She'd recently broke up with her husband, got divorced or whatever, and so she's having to manage being a single mum and having a fighting career. You know, she takes her little girl to the gym, and people look after her whilst you're doing bits and pieces. You know, that's what another thing I love about this sport, especially when you find a team that you're really close with. You know, like it's like a family. Things like that. You know, knowing you can bring your child to the gym and they're going to be safe, kept entertained, looked after, while you can do what you got to do. That's what's absolutely amazing about this sport.
Yeah, exactly.
So, go on. Who do you think you compare yourself to the most?
I don't know. I quite like Misha Tate. I would say I quite like.
Yeah, I like Misha Tate. How can you not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, went a little bit funny there. Okay, one last question. Outside of MMA, what do you like to do to like entertain yourself in your free time?
I do a bit of rock climbing here and there. Grip strength, and it's something different. It's more of a puzzle than jiu-jitsu, but it's just a bit more of a. You actually have to sit there and look at the wall for ages, and it looks so silly, but you still do it just to work out your route. But I also play football. I've just got back into football actually, so.
Yeah. So you're definitely a sporty girl then.
I try, yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Obviously, going back to your changing teams, do you want to tell us a story about what happened, or tell us a little bit?
Yeah, we can go into it. So there's been a few accusations thrown out there that I was banned from the gym for bullying a child who's in care.
Okay.
But we won't get too into it. But
you bully, I could see that.
Honestly, the things I used to do for this child when he was in fight camp for his fight, like I even trained him for 10 weeks straight. Didn't ask for no money, nothing. Pick him up for training, considering he's the other side of Peterborough. Like, I used to do a lot, like take him sparring at another gym I went to, paid for food and all that sort of rubbish. So how they can try and say I bullied this boy, I have no idea. It's absolutely ridiculous.
This is coming from other people.
Yeah, so, my old coach had obviously taken it upon himself to go on Facebook and write an accusation is ludicrous.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not good. See, it's different. I can understand it maybe if it come from the kid. He was saying you done it. But how another person can say it when it's not come from that actual person.
Yeah, I mean, it's a funny one because the onto the shows and money and things like that within the gym. So the actual real reason had nothing to do with what he's saying. It's just, and even the real reason is a load of bullshit. So that's more lies and manipulation on their part. But I don't want to get too into it.
No, it's fine. Just obviously let people know a little bit.
I just think if anyone does want to know and wants to see, things from my side or whatever, or even has thinks they're involved in it and wants to know what's what, just ask me. Just come here, or I'll send you it. It doesn't bother me. Like, I've got it all. So it's not like I'm saying, oh, I did it and don't have the evidence to back that up,
Yeah. Well, what we'll do is if you want, when you're ready and everything's calmed down a little bit, you can come on and tell the whole side of your story if you like. Later on, when everything's calmed down a bit.
Yeah, I mean, definitely want to. I don't mind speaking about it in full length. But yeah, I mean, with accusations of the police being involved and solicitors and things like that, I'm limited to what I can actually say.
no, get everything out of the way first, and then come back on, and we'll have a proper. You can get your side out there, and then you know you can let everyone know your side of the story. Show the evidence. It's not a problem. You know, but it's pretty obvious to me. You've got nothing to hide. You know, you come on. If you had anything to hide, wouldn't be doing things like interviews, would you? Getting watched by people. So
exactly, I wouldn't have my face spelled upon it. Yeah, I'd be on Facebook still chatting shit, but
yeah, no, that's fine. But yeah, listen, thanks very much for coming on and doing the interview, Louise. We do appreciate it. And hopefully let us know when you're. Let us know when you got your next fight coming on, and obviously we'll post about it and everything, and hopefully get you some more fans to come and watch you and stuff.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
No problem at all. Take care.